A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming to today's event, participating in the What We Treasure, We Measure, a theatrical engagement with gender inequalities. Today's event is part of the Department of Gender Studies series of public lectures and seminars, which engages in gender conversations of intellectual, political, methodological, ethical themes. My name is Ania Plomien, and I am based at the Department of Gender Studies. And today's event is joined by 3 other departments that have contributed to bringing PartecipArte to us, to London from Rome today. The Department of Statistics, Department of Inequalities Institute, the Atlantics Fellows Program. So I'd like to thank you for helping us in bringing the colleagues and artists to Rome today. I also would like to thank Anne-Laure Humbert, who has put us in touch to bring together the group and the Department of Gender Studies. And thank you also to Helen Groves, Hazel Johnston, and Kate Stewart, who have participated in organizing today's event. Now, before I tell you a little bit more about the group and what it is that we're expecting to see, I'd like to mention the few housekeeping tasks that I am about to tell you about. The fire exits are marked. We are not expecting a fire drill, so if there is an emergency and a fire alarm rings, please make your way to the fire exits. Second, I would like to ask you to put your phones on silent, so it doesn't interrupt the performance. And finally, if you wish to tweet about this event, the Twitter hashtag is #LSE Talks Gender. And finally, we plan to be here for about an hour and a half. The session will end at 8 o'clock this evening. Now, what is this event about? What We Treasure, We Measure, a theatrical engagement with gender inequality. It is an intervention into the social world, the world which in 2017 is far from having resolved many dimensions of inequalities. Intellectual, political concerns with inequality are long-standing, have a long history, and struggles for justice have, of course, also spanned all corners of the globe. Today we will look at these issues in the context of gender inequalities in contemporary European Union. Now, this does not mean that the issue of gender and inequality is just relevant to the EU. It also does not mean that it's only relevant to today, to the contemporary time and space. On the contrary, there are many examples of persisting transnational forms of gender inequalities which express themselves in similar or different ways. But the persistence of gender inequality is something that we wanted to bring to you today. Another reason for why we are looking at the European Union and the context of the EU is that the EU has comparatively well-developed statistics that look at gender inequalities, and these statistics have been used to form a gender inequalities index, which has been developed by a number of scholars. One of them is here with us today, Anne-Laure Humbert, but she was joined with colleagues like Janneke Plantenga, Agnès Hubert, and all these scholars have for a while worked with the European Commission to develop the Gender Equality Index. Now, the index is a composite measure of different domains. It looks at such issues as work, money, knowledge, time, power, and health. And it also has 2 satellite domains, one of them being violence, another one intersecting inequalities. And this index follows from this long-standing engagement by gender and feminist scholars and by gender and feminist activists who have developed the index to inform policy development and politics at the EU level. Now, in terms of the EU level policy development, we have quite a well-developed infrastructure and tools and policies that have, over the last 4, 5, 6 decades, engaged with the issue of gender equality. At the same time, we are here today where many inequalities, including gender and other dimensions, persist. So the index, while it is a tool for engaging with policy and politics, it is not a sufficient measure to resolve problems of inequalities within the EU. European societies continue being unequal. Not having a lectern was a bit of a difficulty. So the fact that we have pretty well developed statistics and pretty good knowledge about the extent of gender inequalities in the EU is a good message that's coming our way. However, this is not a sufficient part of social transformation and the strive for gender equality. So the knowledge power paradigm is thus relevant not only to the question whether we can put a number on gender equality, but if we can do so, what can we do about that? And Anne-Laure Humbert engages with these questions of what statistics can do in a Covent Garden talk, with TED Talk, which you can look up online, available online. Now, the theatrical PowerPoint today, just to bring me to closure of this introduction, engages with the task of social transformation that can complement and go beyond the domain of policymakers, and one way in which we can go from knowledge to politics. So as such, the format of today's engagement will be slightly different from what we are used to here at the LSE. Usually we have an introduction, a public talk, and a question and answer session. Today it will be similar. First, I will ask Olivier Marcourt, a member of the PartecipArte group, who will, for about the next 10 minutes, explain to you and introduce today's themes. This will be followed by about up to 20 minutes, a human PowerPoint that will display some dimensions of gender inequalities in contemporary Europe. And finally, in the remainder of the time, we will invite you to participate in engaging with contemporary inequalities in Europe by asking questions, but also perhaps providing some answers and solutions. So please join me very warmly in welcoming first Olivier Marcourt of PartecipArte.
Thank you so much, Annie. Okay. I will try without microphone. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Great, fantastic. How are you tonight?
Good.
Good? Okay. Yes? Sometimes perhaps I might use it, sometimes not. Sometimes I will be here, sometimes I will be downstairs. Do you know what's going to happen tonight? She told us something already, but perhaps you don't know everything. Tonight there's going to be theater, but a theater where you can intervene. Where you can intervene. You don't have to intervene. Okay? You're safe. Okay? There are many exits. Okay? Don't worry. It's not something where you get trapped on stage. It's just if you are boiling to try some changes into the stories we will show you, it will be possible. Okay? Sometimes in real life it's risky. Okay? If I say this to my boss, perhaps it will be a clash immediately. Okay? So that's why we practice change. We use theater to practice change. Gender equality or inequality is a cultural issue, and so that's why we think theater is really very appropriate to work for change. Okay? So it's a sort of rehearsal for change that we're going to do tonight. But first we're going to show you a human PowerPoint that brings this gender equality index on stage. Okay? So it gives you a sort of vision of all the data, but we try to bring statistics alive. This was a bit our challenge. Okay? We would like to bring statistics alive because, of course, when we do activism, when we do advocacy, statistics help us a lot. But we have something in common with statisticians. Statisticians, I'm not sure all the statisticians, but I saw this sentence, make visible the invisible. Okay? And we say exactly the same with theater. We make visible the invisible, but we add something, is that we make it visible in a way that you won't be able anymore not to see it. Okay? So we want people to see that those data show a sort of vision of European Union, but also go to very specific stories. What we hope is then, after, to launch a debate where we discover that many of us recognize their story into this PowerPoint. This PowerPoint might tell them something about their story. Does that make sense? Okay? So how is it gonna go? First, we're gonna see the PowerPoint. It's 15 minutes. Okay? 15 minutes, you're gonna see some sort of classical PowerPoint, but it's just human. People are gonna come on stage and perform the PowerPoint. Okay? Then we're gonna talk shortly about it. Then we're going to try to find out who has a story that fits, that enters, that is in this PowerPoint, that this PowerPoint is talking about. We're going to try to bring it alive. Okay? And then we're going to try to change that story of inequality. Okay? And then, if we have time, we're also going to go for a sort of, we call it legislative theater. We try to vote for some new policies that should be advocated for. Okay? This is something we are doing a lot in Italy, but also all over the world. In particular, me, I'm working a lot in East Africa, Somalia, Kenya, but also in Asia. But we are strongly based in Europe. That's where we really try to do at all levels, at the grassroots, in schools, prison, but also bring reports from what the audience tells us to the parliaments, to the UN. We use the CEDAW to make a shadow report, and so forth and so forth. So tonight, everything that you're gonna say, we really take it very seriously. Okay? What comes out through the interactions, through theater, is very creative, is very important for us. Okay? We really take it very seriously. Okay? So you will have the opportunity to intervene, just raising your hand, classical comment. Okay? But also, once we'll have a story, you will have the opportunity to come on stage or to perform the story if you really want to act. This is an opportunity you have tonight. But more than else, to try some change. Okay? A lot of things I've said, we're going to see it slowly. So the tradition is we always start with a few warming up games. But of course, we are serious people. We don't really, not to play games. So of course, we have been researching all over the world the most simple game. And I found this one in prison. I was taught by rapists. It's this. Try to do this. Okay, try to do this. Okay, and now, since of course we work on gender equality, we want to deconstruct this kind of stereotype. So you're gonna exchange, okay, and now faster and faster. It's easy, isn't it? And then you go faster. And if your brain is losing control, excellent. Control is a big disease, of course. Control on others, but also control on oneself. So we're gonna do those games just to lose control and just to trigger our creativity. We're gonna watch around us, where are those gender stereotypes coming from? And we're gonna try. Wow. Yes, exactly. You look beautiful. I wish I could make a photo at the same time. But I can't. I will never have this photo, but still, excellent. Okay. Now we are also gonna move a bit our feet. Take care for your neighbor. It becomes. You see, it's not too tricky. You don't have to make weird things on stage, of course. Okay, you move your left feet if you are right-handed, and then you try to write your name with your other hand, if you still remember it. Well, you go around with your feet. Okay, and normally you are still losing control. It's very positive. Yeah, you're losing control. Technically, it's called demechanization. It was a Marxist concept, but it's used also for demechanization of the body, of the. Okay, excellent. So. Next one, we're going to make it more collective. I'll ask you just to put your palm and your index. Yeah, so right palm, left index on the palm of your neighbor. Try to get a neighbor. This is a really exciting game. Yeah, okay, I know this is the most intimate contact that I will ask you to perform tonight. Don't worry, we're not going to go further after that. Okay, you have it? So I will come, just put it like this. Can actors come, so just to show, to participate in the game? Yeah, the actors, we have to... the actors. True Roman actors.
Yay.
Okay, so yes, finger and index and yeah. Right, so I will count until 3. At 3, you have to try to pick the finger of your neighbor and to save your finger. Please, let's keep it safe, okay? It's not a hospital game. Just grab it if you can and try to save your finger, okay? Are you ready? Some people are starting to be nervous. I will count until 3. At 3, try to save your finger, okay? Okay, yeah. Okay. Wow, okay. 1, 2. Are you ready? Okay. Some people are. Okay, 1, 2. Should I say 1, 2, 3? All right. Okay. Let's have a last one. It's good to just. Sometimes we are too intelligent in Europe, so those games just help us to. So next game is they just taught me. Don't remember. It was like this, huh? Yeah. So yeah. So basically, we'll show you how it works. It's just like something like this. Okay. Something like this. Okay. So I will start from here. Now the other side. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Can I not do like this? Yeah, you start, right. Okay, but like this. E io come faccio? Con la mano sopra? Okay. Okay, are we ready? Everyone's ready? I made it, so you can make it. So, can you see my hand and her hand? Yeah, I think this is the first time you do this at the LSE. Always the first time. So, you see her hand is up and my hand is down, okay? But they are both facing up, okay? Does that make sense? We're gonna try and we can make it 2 times. We're gonna try, okay? Are you ready? Yeah, let's go. Faster, faster, faster.
I'll try and join it with
Excellent. System mechanizing. Okay. Yeah, beautiful. Distance. Clapping. That's it. Yeah. Faster, faster, faster. Should fly. Okay. And continue here. Yes, you got it. Yeah. Here. Yeah. Okay. 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 Excellent. So everybody's in contact now. After this, everything will look very simple for you. A last one, very simple, just to get in contact with the actors, is they will clap their hands, but we don't know how and how much. You will choose one actor. For instance, if I choose him, I'll try to clap my hands at the same time as him. Okay? Okay. If you choose her, you just try to clap your hands at the same time as her. You try to be in at the same time. Just let's try. Okay. actors, they need some applause once in a while. So that's their favorite game. Yeah, we're going to warm up the applause because it's very important to give a clear signal to the actors. So let's try the different applause, because of course we cannot give a huge applause if it's not worth it. So let's start with a very bored audience giving an applause anyway. Okay, the message is clear. Let's go for a very highly educated audience. Okay, very rough audience. Okay, yeah. Okay, great. Applause of women. Woman applause. Men applause. Beyond men and women. Okay, and a very enthusiastic audience from LSE and from all London and from all over the world. Okay, so they will understand. Okay, they will understand whatever comes up. Okay, so we're gonna start. So there's 15 minutes PowerPoint now. We're going to see it. It gives us a sort of vision of the Gender Equality Index of the European Union. And then we're going to discuss it shortly. Okay? So first, we just watch it. You don't have to intervene now. Okay? Wait, there will be a time for that, but just give us 15 minutes. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. Are you ready? Okay. The Gender Equality Index is a set of statistics that measures gender equality. But what is gender and what does gender equality mean? And again, what is a statistic? Because we are talking about statistics, we only consider women and men here, even if we recognize that gender goes beyond those binaries. Women in our societies are discriminated against. That's why we seek to achieve the gender equality objective. How do we do that? What kind of equality do we want? There are contrasting ways in which to address the gender equality. A. Equality through sameness. Equality, equal opportunities, and equal treatment. It highlights the necessity to include women into a world from which they have been typically excluded. But it can be a problem if it means trying to get women to be more like men. What kind of men, by the way? B. The difference approach. What does it mean? This approach says that women and men bring different contributions to society, and gender equality means valuing these contributions equally. But it can be a problem if it reinforces existing gender stereotypes and the current organization of labor and care. We will have occupations only for women and occupations only for men. Seems like a real trap again. C. The transformation of gender relations. Rather than having to choose between the sameness and difference approach, a new standard for both women and men is created, moving beyond gender and creating a better society for all individuals. In order to reconcile different approaches to gender equality, the Gender Equality Index adopts a pragmatic definition. Equal share of assets and equal dignity and integrity between women and men. The Gender Equality Index synthesizes the complexity of gender equality in one single number. It is a multidimensional indicator which describes a complex reality by aggregating together different concepts in a meaningful way. The Gender Equality Index consists of 6 domains: work, money, knowledge, time, power, health. Complemented by 2 satellite domains, intersecting inequalities and violence. The index goes from score 1, maximal inequality, to score 100, perfect equality, measuring gender gaps measuring gender gaps for both women and men in terms of levels of achievement, ensuring that the high score necessarily represents both low gender gaps and high level of achievement. We do not want everybody to be treated equally badly, but for all individuals to have the potential to realize themselves regardless of what they are. So where do we stand now? At EU level, we stand at 66.2. And the UK? Before looking at gender equality overall, let us show you why gender equality matters in each of the 6 core domains of this Gender Equality Index. Work. Women are more likely than men to have career interruptions, often because of household and care work. Women are also more likely to work on a part-time basis. Duration of working life is longer for men than for women. Segregation remains important, which means that women tend to work in different and lower paid sectors from men and are less likely to reach higher level positions. Of course, this has repercussions in terms of earnings and poverty. So let's look at the domain of money. Money. Women consistently earn less than men. There is already a gap when the gender pay gap is calculated on a hourly basis. It gets worse when we look at monthly earnings because women are more likely to work on a part-time basis. The difference gets even worse when we calculate the gender gap in pensions, where it amounts to 38%. Lower incomes mean higher risk of poverty for women in general, and in particular for lone mothers and older women. But if things end up so unequal in later life, does it start out so unequal? Let's look at the domain of knowledge. Knowledge. Women study more and achieve better results than their peers. Since 2007, there are more women as graduates of tertiary education than men. However, the fields into which women and men study remain very segregated. Women's representation is low in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Likewise, if we look at those sectors traditionally considered as feminine, such as nursing or early childhood education, the men who are present who can be very stigmatized. As a result, women's job opportunities do not reflect their level of education. Women are segregated in typically feminine occupations with important difficulties combining different activities, care, professional, and private activities. For this reason, let's look at the domain of time. Time. The division of time is made between 3 main activities: economic, care, and social activities. Maximizing opportunities to be able to sustain society through both caring and having time for one's life is of crucial importance. Women continue to perform the bulk of caring activities with extremely wide gender gaps between women and men in the time spent on caring and education of children. The difference is even worse for time spent on cooking and housework. As a result, men continue to be more likely than women to participate in sporting, cultural, and leisure activities on a regular basis. The division of time is also about having the opportunity to participate in social life and engage with decision making, where it becomes possible to make a change. So let's look at the domain of power. Power. In all areas of power and decision-making, men are greatly overrepresented in politics. Men dominate in positions as ministers, members of parliament, and regional assemblies. This is also the case in social decision-making, such as in research institutions, universities, the media, or sport organizations. The situation is worse in economic decision-making, with women a small minority as members of company boards throughout the EU. Gender equality is about equal rights and equal outcomes, but it is also about bodily integrity. For this reason, let's have a look at the domain of health. Health. Women live longer than men in the EU, but sicker. This, combined with greater poverty, makes them much more vulnerable to violence. From a gender perspective, there are few differences between women and men in terms of access to health structures. This does not capture the fact that research and medicine does not fully cater to the specific needs of women. Women are still poorly represented in drug trials, which are used to prove the safety and efficacy of new drugs on the market. But men and women can react differently to medications, and what can be effective for one can be toxic for the other. One of the big absences in the Gender Equality Index, because of lack of consensus among EU countries, is the issue of reproductive health, contraception, and abortion. Is silence rather than debate really the solution? Violence. Until recently, EU comparable data on violence against women was absent. With the release of the European Agency for Fundamental Rights EU-wide survey on violence against women, a picture is starting to emerge. 1 woman in 3 in the EU has experienced physical and/or sexual violence since the age of 15. 1 woman in 3. Data show that violence affects over 80 million women in the EU. What is clear is that violence is mainly perpetrated by someone that is known and close in their environment rather than the stereotype of the random stranger. The perpetrator is most often a partner, ex-partner, family member, boss, or colleague. Domestic violence often does not manifest openly. It is subtle. It tends to follow a specific pattern over time called the cycle of violence. This cycle has different stages. The first is psychological violence, intimidation, and isolation. Secondly, there's economic violence. Then it goes to physical violence, and only in the end, there can be the killing of the woman. Comparisons between countries are problematic. It seems that there are higher levels of violence being disclosed in countries that have higher scores in the Gender Equality Index. But we need to be careful about the conclusions we draw from this. Is it that higher gender equality may lead to higher levels of violence? Or instead that higher levels of awareness and support make women feel more confident to report the experience of violence? Where will we stand in 2030? Despite 50 years of gender equality, we are nowhere near, and progress is slow. Comparing gender index scores from 2005 to 2015, there have been marginal improvements, getting from 62 in 2005 to 66.2 in the EU. In the UK, the score has even decreased from 2005 to 2012. Progress needs to increase its pace. An index is just a number, and this number in itself says absolutely everything about gender equality. But at the same time, it says absolutely nothing until it is used with the purpose to open up a space for reflection, discussion, and action. That's it. Okay.
That was excellent.
Thank you so much. Okay, so this is about all European Union, but did you see something about your lives? Did you recognize some stories that you have seen, that you have lived, experienced? Yes? No? Not really? Not sure? Okay, yeah, it's a bit... Oh. A bit light. Let's enjoy. Okay. I will say yes, you will say no. Okay? Yes.
No.
No? Yes, no, no. Yes, yes, no. Yes, no, yes. No, no, yes, no, yes. Yes, yes, no, yes, no. Okay, good. Good. Yeah. Okay, so what did you see? So did you see some stories that you think that for you are real, or you feel like, okay, it comes from European Union, who knows where it is, but I've never seen that?
It's real.
It's real?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have one person here that claims that this is real. Right? Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, more hands. Yeah, great.
From time to time it's personal.
Sorry?
It's more than real, from time to time it's personal.
It's personal. So you see personal stories here? Okay, great. Okay. Some people don't have any story. I've never seen this. Not really? Yeah, you? Perhaps a child? Okay, I'm so happy for you. Your mother is involved on gender equality, so happy child too. Yeah?
Yeah, I think that sometimes we are also just searching for the story of our gender. So I was thinking now about the stories where I experienced violence, but I didn't think about, have I ever inflicted violence on someone? So I think the separation makes me think about the women's role, but never about the role that the man represents in the survey.
Okay. Wow, that's very interesting. So the fact that we still talk about gender roles brings you to think only in one part of the on one side of the problem?
No, but I think tendency-wise, I'm identifying myself more with the women, as in, obviously I don't want to, that's why I'm bringing it up, but
Yeah.
it just happens.
Okay.
And so I'm looking for my representation in this group.
Okay. So did you feel represented?
Sometimes yes, and
Yeah?
sometimes no.
Sometimes
I
no.
mean, in the end I'm an individual, and so I experience some of those things and some not.
Okay, great. Okay, so who has a story here that you feel, yeah, this is my story. I just saw it as I lived it. Yeah. Can you tell us just what moment was it of the play?
I would say sequel, but in particular when there was a slide about work.
Work? Come for work? Which moment?
Basically when there was the idea of the gender pay gap, and also the segregation in specific female sector, and what is the so-called sticky floor or glass ceiling, in a way.
Okay, so what was your very specific experience about gender pay gap? Or was there a situation where you really experienced it, where you saw that, wow, I'm paid less than this person?
Yeah, not just on me personally, but or also on colleagues, for example. Or
You saw it?
friends, yeah.
Okay. Is there a situation where someone tried to change such a story but didn't make it? Did it happen to you? Perhaps you saw something like this and you thought, no, I can't accept this, but perhaps you were a bit alone, you didn't have the right strategy at the right moment, yeah?
I worked in a company for 2 years and we published our gender, like basically the gender representation and how much women and men were paid. So it did change, but then we saw that entry-level people up to the company, their pay was equal, but as soon as you get higher in the company, women's earnings dropped like severely and men's.
Okay, everybody heard it? Okay, I will try to repeat it, but please don't accept my version if it's not correct. So she says she was working in a company. They made a survey to understand if there was a gender pay gap, and so they changed things somewhat. But then they discovered that, yeah, they changed the things at the basic level, but at the higher levels they discovered that there was no change happening, right? Okay. Did you try to say something, to do something on that?
Yeah, I had a network that was basically all about gender and how we can make the gender pay gap more equal. Nothing. It's a very, very large company.
So you involved your network?
But nothing happened, like genuinely nothing.
Okay, because your network couldn't do anything, or because your company was too difficult to...
Because our company wasn't concerned necessarily. They were concerned about producing, yes, the report, like they're actively trying to change it, but in terms of actions of changing what the report produced, they didn't do anything. Because they felt like they already done the work.
Okay, you got the point? Okay, so your company, sorry, you hear the story. So your company is really happy to produce a survey, okay, that shows that you are very concerned about gender equality, okay? And you're going to publish it everywhere, right? Yeah? So now we're going to go from your story, we're going to try to make it collective. Is it fine? Yeah. Okay. Do other people recognize themselves in this story? Yeah? Okay. So do you think we can work on that? Are you okay? Okay. So here we have Dr. What is his name? Wait, they will tell us. They will tell us. I think they are more British than us, or they are more like, how to say, they are more, how do we call him? No, not we are all British, I mean, what's his name? We can even imagine the name. Simon, okay? Mr. Simon. Okay, so Mr. Simon is very concerned about the image of his company, and he wants to show that gender equality is important for the company, on the appearance at least. Okay, right. But then, of course, he doesn't want to change to have the same income as the woman of the company. Why, do you think? Sorry? They earn less, but why doesn't he want a woman to earn as much as him?
Because his contributions are more valuable.
Then he may earn less. So you think gender equality means that men will lose something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or men feel like they could earn less, or they might lose something. But is it reality?
Yeah.
Do men lose gender equality? So for this case?
Yes.
Yeah, you think if women earn more, he will earn less?
It's not just about money.
Sorry?
It's not just about money.
It's not about money.
It's also about the role.
The role. So what will change in his role if she earns more?
Less power?
He will have less power.
Less prestige.
Less prestige.
Less time for leisure.
Less time for leisure. Okay, those are good reasons why perhaps you are not, only in appearance you want gender equality to happen. Okay, great, I love this issue. Okay, now we have to bring it alive. So who is going to try to address that issue with him? Who is the character that in this case has tried something with him? Did you or did the network send someone?
Yeah, so actually I was involved in a network, but we were the entry-level individuals who just like graduates, just like us. But
yeah, of course.
The people who were involved in them, they were senior women, so we couldn't actually actively speak to him because he was too senior. Actually, he was too senior for us to speak to him.
Okay. Okay, but the people who released the survey, they could reach somewhere.
It was actually a survey that compared all companies, and only our company published ours. So actually, the statistics was looked at all companies and saw the levels that were between men and women were different, but only ours published. But in terms of the actions that happened after, there was a lot of talk, but no action.
Okay, can we see the talk? How did the talk look like? Yeah, perhaps the talk is the moment when people start declaring that gender equality is a main concern for us, and they say it publicly. Perhaps that's the moment where we could try something, or do you have another idea? Where's the moment where we could make change happen in this kind of story? Is my question clear? Yeah. Where is it? I feel like the moment where they release their survey and they say they make, I don't know, we are not really familiar with Great Britain, but in Italy they always, like we had a very short moment where we had as many ministers, women ministers, as men, very short. It was just a historical moment, I don't know how long, 6 months. And so they said it everywhere in the world. Okay? They were so proud of it. And as soon as they said it everywhere, they just went back to the normal situation. Do you think it's a good moment? Do people, this kind of situation, do they declare it? Do they make public events to say it? So is it a moment where we could try to engage them and to try to control that their engagement will not be only words?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah, sometimes we don't know where to make change happen. Theater is good because we can try anything, okay? But remember, theater is very good opportunities because tomorrow, perhaps in my company, if I fail, if I do a mistake, I could pay it I could pay it a lot, and it could be very heavy for me, okay? Here we can try anything, okay? Right. So, Mr. Simon, right?
Somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah? Or someone knows how those declarations happen when they release. Does someone want to play Mr. Simon? Do you know this kind of Mr. Simon? Who has seen Mr. Simon making such a declaration? You're not going to be trapped here. Yeah? What does Mr. Simon say?
He will probably organize meeting with people, like all the staff, in order to voice out the concerns.
So all the staff?
And try to do like focus group or teamwork in order to find solutions.
To find solutions. And once they bring some solutions, what will he do with the solutions?
Well, that's the point. There is no next step.
Okay, so there's been a big consultation. This is really strong for us because there's been a big consultation in Italy. You can say it. Did for you changing the educational programs to just remove all kind of stereotypes and visions of women and men. And I've been consulting everybody for 2 years, and then we got the results, and there's nothing in it. Okay, so this could be the moment where they have just been consulting, right? There have been some focus groups, and so now what happens, right? How could we make the scene? So you will thank them for participating into this. The results of the survey anyway have been very positive, but we are going to try to do much more, right? Do we want to add some sentences? We are building the play, then it's going to go faster. Eh? Do you want to help to create the play? Do you have other sentences that he might say? Yeah?
He's going to start a female mentorship program.
Yeah.
I love this one. You want to be in charge of this program? Is it going to be a woman that's in charge of this program? Okay. Do you want to present this program? Would you do that?
Present.
Yeah, the program. He will just introduce what they have been doing, the focus groups, and then he will present you to the crowd, and you will present this new project. Is it okay? Yeah, come. Big applause for her. So, now, last thing we need is the person, the character that tries to change things. Okay? So, who is going to try to change that? A woman, I guess. Fred. I don't see too often yet men struggling to overcome this kind of oppression. I hope I don't watch well enough, and I'm sure we are becoming more and more involved on that because many of us understand that it's not against us. But I fear it's going to be a woman, am I right? Yeah, okay. So what is she going to try to do? when she's gonna try to present the female mentorship. What was the name? Program, yeah. When she's gonna present that, what is she gonna try to do?
Get some more change, something else.
Okay, you're gonna ask for more change. Okay, what is it? What is this? Okay, you're not satisfied. Okay, yeah. Come for the ceremony. Big applause again. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, if you are so worried that you are people that really engage on gender equality, our director is here with us, and he's gonna present the results of the survey. On gender equality, in particular on the gender pay gap. He's so concerned about that. So I'll just let him the floor. Thank you so much, Dr. Simon.
Well, this is my staff. And it's very interesting, the program, your program. I would like that you spoke with her, with him, and to explain what is it.
So I've heard that in your company you have this problem with women not being paid as much. And we really think that the key to this is to empower individual women to work really hard and to make up for that. So we're going to involve all the female interns, and we're going to assign them with role models within the company, and they will meet with them once a week to have coffee, and together they will fix this pay gap problem.
But I thought that was another program. I don't remember this evil or about gender evil. No, it's this one. Yes.
Yes, this will fix all of your problems.
I have a question, because maybe, I don't know, if it is enough, maybe some more steps can be undertaken, maybe some more changes in order to reach the equality?
Well, perhaps there might be a problem that you might not have enough female role models, in which case we should probably assign male mentors as well.
Yeah, you're not the one supposed to solve the problem. Okay, so, are you happy? Okay, good. We can stop it here. So what would you do? Does this happen?
All the time.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So what do you do in such a situation?
Join a trade union.
Sorry?
Join a trade union.
Joining trade union. What can the union do here? What are the unions? They are mainly men, women, beyond.
They represent the proportion of results.
Are there gender sensitive in the UK?
No, mostly women in the UK. No,
So-
yeah, the majority women in the UK.
Okay. So
But
it's
not in leadership.
not in leadership position. Okay.
What if you don't have a specific occupation?
Sorry?
And what if you don't have a specific occupation? Like you're doing a labour or a job that doesn't, it's not defined, so you're not a doctor, you're not a teacher. So what do you do then?
Okay.
So
If you don't have a how could you call that? Yeah, how were you calling it? If you don't have a
Professional body?
professional body, yeah, like freelance. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's start from this case. Okay, and then we will try to go also for more individual cases. What can we do with such a beautiful ceremony? Should we ruin the ceremony? Yeah, great, wonderful. Here we can do it for sure. I hope we're gonna do it after this event. We will leave England tomorrow morning early. No responsibility. Just here we can just try it in case we just don't ruin it well. And we wanna rehearse now. Of course, we don't wanna ruin. It's not about ruining things. It's not about bringing bad mood in the company. It's just bringing more joy and more equality. So what can be done here?
Ask for
Yeah?
Ask for my money.
Yeah, would you ask it? Did you feel like asking it?
I should.
Yeah, great. So we have just heard this beautiful presentation, right? She's gonna make the conclusion again. Okay, since there are not enough women as role models. We're also going to invite men to be role models, and for sure they're going to love it. I'm not really convinced, I feel, by this, and you're going to try to change, to bring some change, right? So you start, just conclude your...
So we might run into the problem that there might not be enough role models who are women to do this mentorship program, in which case we should bring in men as role models as well, and it should probably be during working time.
I have a question, because the gender pay gap is about 20% if I saw the report. Could we get like 20% more money?
I'm not sure about it. I have to check. I'm not sure. Because you earn, how much do you earn? No, I think that I have to ask somebody before. Yeah. Because it's very difficult to give you an answer now, and I'm so busy, and well, and then I think that there is, sorry, you can come? Yeah. Can you check the point of her earning the presence, how many illness she takes, and if it is all right? I think that it's all right.
Okay, what's happening now? Distraction. What else?
Changing the narrative.
Changing the narrative. What kind of changes is he bringing?
He's undermining her point.
He's undermining our point. How?
By bringing up
trying to correlate her lower pay to her performance.
He's gonna try. He's trying to find reasons for her lower pay. Yeah. Okay. So he's asking to get some information about if she has children or whatever, some good reason that would justify. Okay. Yeah. He's trying to win time. Okay.
Derailing.
Sorry.
Derailing.
Derailing.
Sabotage.
Yeah, derailing. Ah, okay, yeah. Okay. So, does it happen like this here? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. No, great. I say I'm always amazed to see that. I work like in very different countries, and I always see that there are so many common points.
Yeah.
Sometimes people tell me, I work in Somalia, and people always tell me, yeah, but in Somalia there's no gender equality. Yeah. Okay, so have you done what you wanted, or do you want to try something more? Now you see what he's doing. Okay, do you have something more to try?
No.
No? Great. Thank you so much. So, what do we learn from this? Yeah.
What probably is more and more the scenario today with having more female leadership is what's if Mr. Simon is not Mr. or Dr. Simon, but Mrs. something. So the CEO or the powerful person with the decision making is actually a woman. Would that situation work out completely different? Okay. Or would it actually end up being the same?
If she was the CEO.
Not
necessarily. Sorry? You could do the CEO? So now she's the CEO, okay, and so she's gonna very shortly tell them what she wants to do for gender equality, and we're gonna see how they react. Okay.
Can I consult? I don't know which way to do that.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah, can we give her some sentences? So what is she gonna say? What can happen to CEO woman?
This is from a personal perspective.
Sorry?
I think we are completely stereotyping ourselves. We are assuming that unless we put a female CEO in charge, this cannot be solved, right?
We're just trying.
No, we want to see what happens if she were a CEO, if she was the director.
But we assume that her qualifications are based on her being a woman.
No? No, why?
Okay, so let's see what that she has to say.
Okay, yeah?
So I think what I was trying to set as a scenario is if you have, in this day and age, lots of people found companies, right? So instead of being a male founder, it's a female founder and head of the company, but you might still have this significant amount of male people earning more than female people in the company. So you get also asked to do the analysis, and now as an outcome, you're also being prompted, would you pay us the 20% more? You know, would a woman question that kind of performance and all of that the same way as a man does?
Yeah. Okay. Is that okay for you?
Oh, this is not for me.
No, no. Can we try this?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, okay. There were two questions. One, two.
I don't have a question, I have a suggestion. I
Yeah.
would say that the woman, female CEO would do exactly the same as men, only adding this very nice sentence, but I am a woman as you are, and
Yes?
Yeah, so kind of following on from what that lady said, like I've had children, I've come to this position, I don't know why you're asking for more, you can just work harder.
Becoming really nasty, yeah? Are you still comfortable? Excellent. Thank you so much. Make a big applause for her. Or someone else feels like playing this. It's very enjoyable to play this kind of game. I promise, it's really a new... Yeah. CEO, right? You are the CEO. And we're gonna see what happens if the CEO is a woman, right?
Great.
And now we are assuming that it might not go perfectly. Okay, we want to see what could we do in such a situation still. Okay, so you are still the one trying to rebel, no?
What I meant is that the CEO is trying to change it to...
Yeah, okay, we're gonna see whatever happens, we're gonna see how men react anyway. Okay, let's go. Yes.
Sorry, so what did you want me to do? What did you want me to change about this organisation? What did you want as a woman?
Well, we have this gender pay gap that is evident, so we want to change it. We want equality between women and men.
So how do you think I got here? I've worked so hard. I have 4 children. I have a husband. I have a dog as well. I've got to
Okay.
where I am at.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so the problem is still there, right? Okay, so what can we do in this situation? Do we have another intervention? What could she do? She already tried something, okay? It's excellent. We already saw what could happen. What else can we try? Yeah.
Ask for an explanation.
Don't say it. Come to ask it. Yeah. It looks you really have a great idea. Sometimes we have wonderful ideas, but we have to try our ideas concretely. Okay? It would be so nice. Yeah, big applause. We already have a line for people. Okay. So where do we start? When she was saying this? Okay, you liked her speech?
Yeah.
Okay. You just do it again, sort of. Huh? We loved it.
So what do you want me to do? I have 4 children, a husband, a dog. I've got to this level where I'm at. What do you want? What sort of changes do you want me to implement?
I mean, could you give me an explanation why I'm actually earning less than a man who does the same job as me?
We all started from, unfortunately, a position that was behind men, but you have to work double, just to get to the position we're at now. Sometimes, unfortunately, life gives you hurdles. You have to jump over them, and that's how you can get to where I am now.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So, what did she bring? What's new?
She's specific.
She's specific.
Yeah.
Put the discussion back on track.
Back on track. The discussion is back on track. How?
By talking about the
Shifting. Responsibility. How?
Demanding accountability.
Demanding accountability. Why? Can you explain me exactly why I earn less?
The same job.
Okay. What else could we do? Yes, come. Big applause.
been managing this team now for a year. As you can see, it's kind of a mix, right? We have 2 gentlemen in the team and 2 ladies in the team. And I've recently hired these 2 ladies to join the team to also get kind of an even picture and everything. And I've done their annual reviews, and I must overall say the team has been far more effective from the new hires. They've been working much harder, coming with new ideas. And you know, we're now doing the review, and before we did the reviews, I kind of asked how much more could the 2 new joiners be earning, knowing how much the present people earn and working in a team for over 2 years. And given that they've been contributing far more and come up with new ideas to improve the business from all sides, I think it's only fair that the team at least should be paid the same, or actually the compensation should go up for the new joiners to an even amount and be given a bonus for improving the business so much.
I agree with the fact that maybe they should get a bonus for what they're doing, because as you said, they've improved the service. However, they haven't been here as long as the men have been here. And I don't think it's fair to just all of a sudden give them money the same way, because they've been here longer. I think that I understand that maybe they should have a bonus, and I will put that into consideration until I feel like they've reached the same standard. Then we'll talk about price rises and stuff like that.
So standard-wise, they've definitely exceeded the standard that was set by the previous team, and therefore it doesn't
That's
seem
why
right
I said, oh, bonuses.
to just end at a bonus.
Definitely a bonus is definitely something we can look at. We can look at their performance review, and you can give me that report, and we can see where they're going, and see if we can maybe change their position, or just help give you some more women on your team if that's what you want. If you want more women on your team, I think that might be a great bonus.
Okay. Okay, what's new? What did he bring? Yeah.
So what I don't understand is he's saying that just because they're outperforming the men, that's the reason they should be getting paid more equally. But why do they have to outperform the men in order to be paid more? Why can't we get back on track to the conversation? But why they should just be paid the same amount at the beginning?
Why did you come to ask this? I love the way you're going. Quickly, while she's coming, what is the interesting point that she brings? I think every person that comes here brings a treasure, so we just have to what did she bring? What did he bring, sorry? I'm already beyond gender. What did he bring? Evidence again, but what kind of evidence?
Something that might speak to the CEO's interest. Like
something that might speak to the CEO, which are very often
business management,
business results, and these kind of things. Okay. Yes?
What worries me about this situation is that when the man was talking, in a middle management position, I assume, his voice counted more than the voice of the women.
Okay, very interesting point also. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Okay, right.
But to be fair to the gentleman, I think he didn't just say that the women outperformed the man. He also said that the women outperformed what they're supposed to be in their role. So like they were overachieving for their level in the company already. So they're more than, like what he was saying was probably could also be interpreted as they were doing better given their few months in the company as the gentlemen in the same at that stage in their career in that company. So it was not necessarily just comparing with the men, it's just comparing it with the role and the requirements of the role.
Yeah, okay. So it was not necessarily creating competition.
And also another reason the man was engaged with more, I think, is partly because, yes, like men have more of a voice, but also men seem to find it, if they want to talk about any subject, they enjoy a greater confidence in even approaching the subject, whereas women are very afraid to approach the subject because there are often repercussions for women to even raise anything where they feel they're being discriminated against.
Yeah, okay. Great. Okay, let's see your intervention. Okay, where do we start from? When she was concluding or let's see, whatever you want.
Yeah, so I'm just sort of wondering, even though I'm new to the company, why does it have to be that I need to outperform, or even why is there a level of performance that's necessary for me to even prove myself in some way?
Why? Why?
It's not that you have to prove yourself in some way. I feel like everyone that comes on board our team has to perform to a certain level, a certain standard. If you're new, sometimes you just want to outperform to be heard or to be seen. woman or man. In this scenario, unfortunately, I forgot the question was.
I'm asking, why is it necessary? Why do I have to outperform someone else as a woman just because I am a woman?
Yeah.
Why can't I come? Why aren't we all starting on the
because
same?
you're just a woman.
Because
I feel like it's just any member of my team should be outperforming each other so that I can see. Then you come to where I am.
Are you okay? Did you do it or you have to?
No.
It's okay? You're done?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, what do you think about her answer? Yeah?
So it's interesting because companies might want to incentivize their staff, but I think the issue is that the women have come in on less from the start.
Yeah.
Before they've even had the chance to perform or not.
Yeah.
They've come in on a lower salary.
Also, she doesn't acknowledge that.
Yeah. And I think the actress just now almost got to that point. She said, look, it's not the starting rate. It's the point.
Yeah, okay.
Before you
So,
even get to it.
yeah?
But what, she talked about performance and having to outperform whatever. What if someone outperforms her? What's she gonna do then? I mean, like, a CEO is just gonna say, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, you've outperformed me. I'm sorry. I'll step back." I mean, that ignores power completely.
This is your colleague of yours, huh?
Yeah. So, hi. I got to the position where I am because I've outperformed. So now I'm here. I'm just gonna make sure I keep my seat.
It's not gonna make it easy for you. Yes?
But it's not so much about your position, it's about, say if there's an entry level woman who's gone into your company and there's an entry level man and they're at the same level and they're performing at the same rate and they're doing the same, they're doing great, but the woman is being paid a lesser salary than the man. What's your justification for that? What are you going to do about that? And you can't talk about performance, that they're different performing levels because they're at the same level. So what then are you going to do to address that issue?
In that scenario, I would have. What was the whole point of this? The whole point was the fact that we did this audit, right? We did this sort of report, and I found out that was an issue. So I would just do a consultation and I'll figure out the reasons why, in general, that they're on a lower pay. For example, like they could have children or things like that, so that they might not be in work as much as the men, or flexible working hours. They might want that sort of pattern of working, and if they do want that sort of pattern of working, unfortunately they will be paid less for that. So that's why some of them will start off at a different salary than the men.
And those that are not with children?
Then I don't know why that's happening. I don't know why that's happening, and I will seek to address it.
Okay, so can we just reframe what is the question we are trying to answer now? What is the issue we want to overcome? What is the oppression that we are trying to surmount? Who could?
I think we started with pay inequality.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should probably go back to that.
Okay. Because now you think, yeah, we have...
yeah, we started sort of solving other problems.
No, well, I think she tried to derail the issue, and she did very well. And now it looks like there's no more pay gap issue, right? It's just a problem of being performing well or not, okay? So this is something very interesting that we learned. It's so easy to lose the point. Okay, there are so many good reasons to pretend that there's no gender pay gap. Yeah.
But I think we don't lose the point too much, because I think it's an often not viciousness but unconscious bias. And so the way to prove it is that you get equal pay for the equal work.
Yeah, I think this is an excellent request that you should try here to... Okay, big applause for her. If you feel like we're going out of the topic, just bring us back, yeah? bring me back.
It's just the slight.
Of course. You have the power tonight, okay? If you are not satisfied by what we are doing, just intervene and say, I'm not satisfied, okay?
Yeah, so I have this really nice colleague here, and we're on the same stage, and we're both doing professional development plans. And he really doesn't like how things are working out in the company as well. So we just decided to sit together, and I was just looking at the tasks he's doing because he was so kind to show me his development plan as well. And so I know it's about the same, and so I just wondered if you don't deem it the same, or what you want me to do in order to adapt my plan to it, because I believe they are the same. And so there is a basis of proof to show. I mean, it's a bit sad because
Tell her.
I have to prove, but
okay.
At least I have a paper basis.
So, I suggest that you two come to our office. In general, I wouldn't want you guys to be talking about your pay. So, I would like you to come to my office with this gentleman, and we can discuss what type of work that you do to see if the pay inequality, where the pay inequality is.
That's great. You know, you see, I mean, if there's something that's different, I'm happy to adapt that. But I think we have the same position, and so we should be doing about the same. And
so
have
definitely,
about the
we'll
same
talk about it
salary.
when you come in and speak to me, gentlemen.
Great. When can we take an appointment?
About 2 weeks.
Okay, in about 2 weeks. Okay, you have an opportunity to talk alone with her. Okay?
And my daughter.
Okay, did you do what you wanted to do? Excellent. So, it's good thing that we are on stage. Okay, so in 2 weeks you won't have to talk with the lawyers. Okay? Thank you so much for coming. We discover what could happen. Okay, what could happen?
So I think she got what she wanted, but it's still an individual issue, and the problem consistently has been every single discussion, the CEO has been able to individualize it, make it about performance, make it about individuals. So unless and until it's a collective issue and stops being about performance.
So we have to keep it on the collective.
It has to be collective. You can't use the language of performance. You have to talk about it as structures.
Oh, I love the way you talk. Don't you want to?
They can self-organize. That's the point.
But can you show us a bit how self-organization starts? We are not always good
by
at
talking
that.
to each other.
Sorry?
By talking to each other. They need to start by talking to one another.
How? Can you show us how you
No.
talk? Okay, no worries.
Well,
You could sign a petition.
Sign a petition.
During the evening.
And so what do you do with the petition?
Like, give it to the CEO, so like everyone agrees it's not just me.
Okay, do you want to try to make them sign the petition? Yeah, I think it's something that you might want to try. So, okay, is it okay? Big applause, please. So I guess the boss is not there when you are. Let's give a chair for the boss.
The boss is in the background a bit.
Yeah, the boss is always somewhat in the background. Is it fine? Okay.
Okay. So we're meeting with the CEO in 2 hours, and I raised the issue about our pay, but I need your agreement, and I need you to sign a petition so that we're sure the CEO will react and do something, because she will understand it's our collective request. So can you sign it?
Really, you are paid less than I?
Yes, we are.
Are you sure?
You saw
No.
Yeah, I went into every office. You
No.
saw it. Let me show you on my mobile. You see? This is your pay. This is Andrea's pay. This is Natalia's pay. So you can see it's different. And you have the same jobs. We're all managers at the same level. Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay, sign it. Sign it. Right. Would you?
to think about. I have to ask because I'm not really sure that it's like you say because
You should.
I have to check.
You saw the numbers, and you know she works as much as you.
But maybe I don't know.
You worked with her. We did so many projects together.
You sign or you don't sign?
You don't sign. No, I get it. Will you sign it? Will you help us?
Okay. Okay. You wanna go to the Yeah, great, wonderful. We're gonna a nice moment now. So you want to bring the petition? 75% of the company has signed of your team. Yeah, 75% of our team has been signing the petition, right? So let's see what you can do now.
Excuse me, Mrs. Simon.
Hello.
Hi. I just have one thing to say. I just gathered the whole managers and.
This is going to take my time.
Yeah, just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. And it has been a major issue for us the fact that women in the company are less paid than men, despite we're all managers at the same level. And we signed a petition, at least 75% of the company, asking for you to consider our requests.
So how did you go about this? Was it ethical?
Yeah. We did a survey before that, showing that women were actually less paid. Everyone saw it.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, but it was among us.
Oh.
Yeah. That was among us. We kind of created a network, a solidarity network, and yeah. Would you consider our request? Would you talk about it to the board?
I'll take the request on, but I do want to know how you went about to get these signatures. Did you make sure that everyone was okay with signing it, or was it more just like a pushy effect, like you want this to happen? I need a bit more information about it.
That was a manual signature. I did a conference also after the survey was published, and I tried to explain to the whole office what was happening. Many people didn't come. This is why after that I came by myself to every office to try to get the last signature. That was at the first step an individual choice.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. No, you were Mrs. Simon.
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Simon. How is it going?
My wife it's okay. I definitely. It's hard to come up with an excuse not to do what you should be doing. I think that's what I'm finding difficult, because it is a fact that women are paid less. So to come up with a reason why you shouldn't be giving someone the right pay for whatever reason.
So you're telling us we need to come with very good reasons?
Yeah, to be like, I can't, here you go.
Okay, so are you telling us you're going to change it?
Yeah, if I get really good reasons.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. We have tried many things tonight. I'm not sure we have really overcome oppression, but we have done many things. I think if we all continue to try after this moment, because now the theater is going to end up, but I hope we're going to continue this struggle. I hope it's not just only a theatrical event and okay, that's done, we have done our part for today. No, I really hope we're going to continue and plan some actions like this for tomorrow or the day after and so forth and so forth. Today we have seen that there are many ways to intervene. Of course, we have not solved everything, but I think if we try and we try different solutions, we will make it. I'm sure we can make it, and faster also, because it's going too slow also. I would like to thank you so much. I would like to make a last question. Do we have time for a last question? Yeah. What policy would you design and promote to overcome this situation? At the EU level and even at the local level.
Equal pay for everyone.
Sorry? Yeah.
Everyone's paid the same across the board in the whole country.
Okay.
Companies actually a fine for
A fine for companies that don't pay equal. Yeah? What else?
Companies have to publish the salaries of their management.
Companies have to publish the salaries of management on a gender segregated data, right?
That this job position gets paid £60,000.
Okay.
This job position, that means you know what you should be being paid.
You know what you should, whatever, whoever you are. Yes?
There should also be a cap between what the minimum entry salary is and what the annual salary is of the top person in the company. Because
Okay.
the bigger that range is, the less, and the more likely it is that there will be gaps, and there will always be reasons to explain that away.
Okay, right, you remember this one. Okay, do we have a last one? Yeah, oh, we have so many. Wow, wonderful. We all bring you to Brussels. Let's take the first flight. Yes, where to start? Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Well, apart from the suggestion over there, everything else has been tried for about the last 50 years, and I think the best way to address this issue, especially here in the LSE, would be to bring your theatre company to the management.
Yeah, there were two more. Yeah. Sorry, there was first.
When people start and recruit in the first instance, to stop the pay disparity, remove any negotiation, because people always blame it on the woman not negotiating enough to get a higher salary when in fact they're just being offered a lower one.
Yeah.
Working conditions need to be made easier for working mothers, and so childcare vouchers need to be more actively publicised and things so they know exactly what they're doing. And paternity rates and maternity rates need to be the same, so to attract a sort of co-caring thing. I think more information about that. So
okay.
Reduce stigma attached to women who have children.
Okay. Hoping that also men who have children will do their part. Yeah.
Education.
Oh yeah, there was one.
Education.
Sorry?
Education.
Education. So at school?
At school, it's teaching why it's important, also in economic classes. So
Okay.
how finance and economics is taught actually. And
Okay,
it talks or
great.
doesn't talk about these things.
Okay, yes.
A national law to guarantee the right to equal pay, another law for the right to information, and any company that for 3 years defaults is deregistered.
Okay. Okay. I would like to thank you so much for your contribution. As you saw, it was really wonderful today because, wow, everybody was expert here and we had all kind of contribution, talking and contribution, physical contribution. I hope it was useful for you. I would like to thank you so much on behalf of PartecipArte. We are a theatre of the oppressed company based in Rome. Of course, I would like to thank so much the LSE. I would like to thank Anne-Laure Humbert, which has been, it's thanks to her that we have brought this Gender Equality Index on stage. She has really helped us from the beginning to bring statistics on change and to help us in our sort of theatrical activism. Thank you so much, everybody. Make a big applause for yourself.
Participating, for your wonderful questions, for your wonderful interventions, and all of you as well. Thank you very much.